Ladies and gentlemen, if you would please find your seats, the ceremony will begin momentarily. As a courtesy, please silence all cell phones and other electronic devices. Good afternoon, and welcome to the posthumous honorary promotion ceremony in honor of Colonel Charles Young. Our host for today's ceremony is the Undersecretary of the Army, the Honorable Gabe Camarillo, accompanied by the Superintendent of the United States Military Academy, Lieutenant General Darrell A. Williams. Please stand for the arrival of the official party and remain standing for honors, the national anthem performed by the United States Military Academy Band, and the invocation delivered by the United States Military Academy Chaplain, Chaplain Keith Good.
Invite you to join me as we ask a blessing on this day. Almighty God, we are thankful for this celebration of service, thankful for a nation that sees the right and seeks to do right. As we honor this man, Charles Young, USMA class of 1889, a man who has said the life of Charles Young was a triumph of tragedy. Lord, in birth, he was born a slave. In freedom, he was oppressed. But in learning, he was excellent. And in his leadership, he became an example for us all, Lord. As a soldier, he was relentless in demonstrating the kind of leadership that we still strive for here at West Point. Facing difficulty in academics, he did not quit. When shunned by society, he did not retaliate. When bearing the burden of representing the United States to the nations, he would not quit, and he did not fail. Dear God, it is that legacy that we honor today. May we be encouraged once again as those were once encouraged, who he led a century ago. And may by the example of his sacrifice and service to something so much larger and greater than themselves, may we be encouraged to do the same as we honor this man. We ask this blessing in your name, O Lord. Amen.
Thank you, Chaplain Good. Please be seated. Ladies and gentlemen, the 60th Superintendent of the United States Military Academy, Lieutenant General Darrell A. Williams.
All right, thanks. Well, good afternoon, everybody. How you doing? Good? All right. Mr. Undersecretary, distinguished guests, good afternoon, and everyone, and welcome to West Point. Thank you all for being here as we honor this great leader of character from the Long Gray Line. Undersecretary Camarillo, we are honored to welcome you to the Academy, and thank you for being here. I'd also like to extend a very warm welcome to the members of the Young family here today. We're honored by your presence. today as we honor the life and service of Charles Young. Charles Young's years at West Point were ones marked by hardship and adversity, as he was subject to the prejudices and racism of the time from his fellow cadets. But through his perseverance and determination, along with a quiet dignity and grace, Young overcame that adversity, even earning the respect and admiration of his classmates along the way. Years later, in a letter to a fellow classmate, Young reflected on those days at West Point, writing that while in general his academy experience was a source of heartache for him, the bright spots and fond memories came from those classmates and instructors that showed him, quote, friendship and sympathy. And that kindness shown to him shaped his sense of service to others, and throughout his career would pass that along to others, encouraging and mentoring soldiers, regardless of their race or their color. Simply trying to pay the interest on the debt of gratitude I owe you, he concluded in his letter. One of the strengths of the Long Gray Line is its ability to grip hands from class to class, from generation to generation, to encourage, to motivate, to support, and to inspire each other, to take that strength and the lessons from the past and pay it forward, if you will, to future generations. We see that in the life and example of Charles Young, just as we see the power of how one person can inspire the others. We can only imagine the countless lives Charles Young inspired, mentored, and gripped hands with over the years. But we do know he paved the way for so many future leaders, who in turn inspired and gripped hands with others. As we celebrate Inspiration Week this week at West Point, it's fitting that we honor one of our own who inspired so many with his grit, determination, and ability to overcome adversity with dignity. We remember Colonel Charles Young as a leader of character who lived honorably, and demonstrated excellence. He holds an honored place on West Point's Long Gray Line and still inspires generations of soldiers and officers today as an exemplar of Army values and the West Point ideals of duty, honor, country. Thank you.
Thank you, General Williams. Ladies and gentlemen, the 35th Undersecretary of the Army, the Honorable Gabe Camarillo.
Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you all for being here for this truly significant occasion. First, I must begin by offering a warm welcome to the Young family that we have here with us. Ms. Renata Young, Ms. Ravier Kelly, Mr. Lawrence Young, Judy Young, Kelsey Young, and Anya Young. Thank you. It's an honor to meet you. It's an honor to get to know you. And also it's an honor to celebrate with you today. I'd also like to acknowledge our wonderful Superintendent, Lieutenant General Williams, who is here with us today, Lieutenant General Retired Kip Ward, Dr. David Marion, Mr. Brian Shellum, Mr. Robert Stewart, and all the other distinguished guests and advocates who truly worked hard to make this moment possible. I'm honored to be here with you today at West Point's historic campus to celebrate the remarkable life and accomplishments of Colonel Charles Young, and to take part in a truly long overdue posthumous promotion ceremony to serve and recognize him as a brigadier general. The legacy of Charles Young is one that is truly remarkable and frankly inspiring. Born into slavery, Charles Young triumphed over all obstacles. He was the third Black graduate of West Point, the first military attaché to Haiti and the Dominican Republic, and the first Black officer to achieve the rank of colonel in the United States Army. Charles Young was a soldier, an intellectual, a civil rights pioneer, and a man who loved his family deeply. We are recognizing his contributions and achievements here at this location at West Point because it's important to return to where it all started, where his incredible career in the Army began, and to the very place that was the catalyst for this lifetime of servant leadership. Charles Young is more than just a distinguished alumnus. He's a model leader to this nation and to all the future officers who follow in his footsteps here at this institution. Now, his leadership also extended beyond military service. He served as the first Black U.S. National Park Superintendent at Sequoia National Park. He was a distinguished professor at Wilberforce University, and he authored a monograph on the people and customs of Hispaniola that earned the praise of President Teddy Roosevelt. Now, when I think of Charles Young, the word triumph is what comes to mind first. He faced unjust and harrowing circumstances that tested him time and time again, but he triumphed. He gained strength from his family, from his friends, from his love of literature, from learning, and even from music. I know that the town and the College of Wilberforce in Ohio is a very special place for the Young family. It's where a young Lieutenant Young first taught and forged lifelong relationships with world-renowned poets and leaders of the Harlem Renaissance, including Paul Laurence Dunbar, W.E.B. Du Bois, and Langston Hughes in the late 1890s. Now, together, these four extraordinary individuals encouraged one another. They gave voice to the African American experience from their respective points of view. And they created, very importantly, a space for that experience to grow louder and to thrive. There is a letter that the poet W.E.B. Du Bois wrote to his dear friend, Charles Young, in the year of 1917, after learning of Young's unfair removal from active duty, and he was just steps away from becoming a general officer at that point in time. In that letter, he wrote that he would do all that he could to elevate Young's case to the proper authorities, but more importantly, as a friend, he urged Charles Young not to worry and reassured him that this obstacle would not hurt him. And true to the encouragement of his friend, Charles Young triumphed over the unjust action and was reinstated to active duty in November of 1918. And he served as the highest ranking Black officer in the regular Army right up until the moment of time of his death in 1922. Now, recently, when I met the Young family in anticipation of this occasion, I learned about a set of guiding principles in the family that are known as the Young Doctrine that has been passed down for generations by his family and by his friends. The doctrine is all about striving for excellence, especially in academics, while being strategic in one's own pursuits. It's about reaching for new, higher goals while realistically assessing the possibilities. And it's about overcoming obstacles through sheer determination and setting the highest bar possible for achievement. It's about being beholden to and measuring oneself against the standards of your family and not letting the world determine your measure. Now, for the Young family, this has meant not letting obstacles devastate them intellectually or emotionally. And as Ms. Renata Young reminds us, the Young family does not desert their goals nor their dreams. Now, while Charles Young may have been constrained and stifled by the age in which he lived, he did not defer his dreams. His promotion today to Brigadier General has been a long time delayed, but fortunately for all of us, no longer denied. Thank you very much to the Young family and to West Point for your commitment to upholding the legacy of Charles Young. As Brigadier Charles Young, may it be said, well done, and be thou at peace. Thank you.
Thank you, Undersecretary Camarillo. Please remain seated during the publishing of the orders and presentations. Attention to orders. The President of the United States has reposed special trust and confidence in the patriotism, valor, fidelity, and abilities of Charles Young. In view of these qualities and his demonstrated potential for increased responsibility, he is therefore posthumous honorarily promoted from Colonel to Brigadier General. By order of the Secretary of the Army, Mrs. Young is being presented the posthumous honorary promotion order and certificate on behalf of Brigadier General Young. Since World War II, the Army has issued each newly promoted general officer a general officer's belt. First introduced in 1944, as authorized by the Army Chief of Staff, this thick black leather belt has an 18-karat gold-plated buckle imprinted with an eagle. General officers wear the belt at their discretion. The Undersecretary of the Army is presenting Mrs. Young with a belt and a one-star general officer flag. Thank you, Undersecretary Camarillo and General Williams. Ladies and gentlemen, Mrs. Renata Young.
Undersecretary of the Army Camarillo, USMA Superintendent Williams, Brigadier General Charles Young Foundation board members, Foundation friends, family, Superintendent Charles Young Buffalo Soldier National Park Monuments, Mr. Stewart, Omega Psi Phi President, Dr. Marion, and guest, distinguished guest. My name is Renata Young. I am a descendant of Brigadier General Charles Young. And CEO President of the Brigadier General Charles Young Foundation. It is an honor and a privilege to speak to you today on the occasion of Charles Young's posthumous honorary promotion. I was deeply moved in January when the Secretary of the Army, Christine Wormuth, took this important action in honor of Charles Young, a man who served our country so valiantly. At the time when Americans are demanding a reckoning of our nation's legacy of systemic racism, it is highly significant that Charles Young, a trailblazing figure in U.S. history, be recognized, celebrated, and his legacy documented. I have often wondered, how does one endure systemic racism yet excel to the levels of Charles Young, the levels that he reached? By the end of his life, he was admired and respected by people of all races and political persuasion. Well, in his case, it took unswerving adherence to the Young family doctrine, coupled with character, perseverance, mental agility, and unflappable self-discipline. Charles Young weathered social isolation not only at West Point, but throughout his military and national parks career. Despite hardships he faced, he managed to love the American experiment. While he felt the sharp sting of discriminatory treatment from his classmates here at West Point, At various points in his career, from his superiors also, he did not consign all of white America to the racist side of the ledger. Today's ceremony is a tribute not only to Colonel Young, but to Ada, his wife, his children, Marie and Charles, each of whom endured life's challenges as a military family and faced financial hardship after his passing, as veterans' families often do. His pension was slow to come, if it did at all. As brilliant as his children were, they could not fathom their father's decision to give property he owned in the West to the government, the same government that withheld his pension from their mother, Ada. But Charles Young always aimed his sights on the long game. Long before they were popular, he knew that land conservation and the creation of national parks were great ideas. He was a visionary who recognized the enormous importance of setting aside and protecting the beauty of national park land for public enjoyment rather than private gain. His foresight created a lasting treasure for all to enjoy. Charles Young was, by all accounts, a Renaissance man, a polymath and passionate public servant who was denied his due recognition in life. He was the first African-American colonel in the Army, Buffalo Soldier, civil rights leader, a mentor to military leaders who followed his path. The Young family doctrine brings us to this ceremony. You can't imagine how many times over the years, the military officials, various White House staffers, told me that this promotion could not be accomplished. Our family doctrine, though, says don't give up. Find a path, an angle, an ally, or change in the protocol or regulations to reach the desired results. None of it was easy. And you can be sure that the family, Omega Psi Phi fraternity, veterans organizations, were not alone in wanting to make this promotion happen. All of us who are here today to celebrate know well that his legacy and contributions to this country are still alive and strong as ever. Military intelligence, the national parks, Sequoia, Yosemite, his home, now the Charles Young Buffalo Soldier National Monument, all have a story to tell of one man's incredible life. Thank you.
Thank you, Mrs. Young. Ladies and gentlemen, please remain standing for the West Point alma mater, performed by the Glee Club.
Let duty be well performed, honor be ever taught, country be ever armed, West Point, by thee. Guide us thine own aright, teach us by day, by night, to keep thine honor bright for we still, Lord, all be west point to thee. And when our work is done, our course on earth is run, may it be said, well done, be thou at peace. There may that line of grace increase from day to day. Live, serve, and die, we pray. West Point for thee.
Ladies and gentlemen, please remain standing for the singing of the Army Song performed by the United States Military Academy Band and Glee Club.
March along, sing a song with the army of the free. Comes the brave, comes the true, who have fought to victory. With the army and proud and brave, with the army and proud we will play. First to fight for the right and to build the nation's might. And the army goes rolling along. Proud of all we have done, fighting till the battle's won. And the army goes rolling along. Let's fly, high, hey, the army's on its way. Count out the three, it's not strong. But wherever we go, you will always know that the army goes rolling along.
This concludes today's ceremony. Thank you, and have a safe, wonderful rest of your day.